Alright guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well. Much love to the subscribers and gratitude to anyone new. Let's talk about this fight, alright? Teofimo Lopez takes on Jermaine Ortiz February 8th on a doubleheader. Keyshawn Davis is fighting Jose Pedraza. Pretty good card for a Thursday night. No complaints there. Look, this video is about the keys to victory, so I'm just going to ramble a little bit about what I think each fighter should probably do or don't do. No particular order, but let's get into it now. So let's start with Jermaine Ortiz, right? A very good fighter. One thing I really love about him is his self-belief is very high, and you know he's got that stuff in him. You know, I just watched the Moran fight, and he got hurt in the 5th round against Moran, and you know he's quite smart when he got hurt too. He was definitely backpedaling, definitely covering up, but then you know he wanted to win the end of the round, and he brought something out of himself what a lot of fighters don't do. But Jermaine Ortiz has that stuff. Look, he's a neat, tidy boxer. He's got good feet, a good move. He's got a really good jab. He can switch hit a little bit, and you know what I mean. He's coming up in weight. He was a 135 going up to this fight's a 140, but he's a big guy as well. So he'll have the height advantage and probably slight speed advantage with his hand speed. Now, with that, right, one thing Ortiz does that I've noticed, what I think he could do more of, or especially against somebody like Teo, who's a supreme counterpuncher. Right, Ortiz, his jab is his best punch, right? So I think, and basically, there's a lot of times where he paws at it or flashes it just enough to not really land, and then he's really cautious about it not getting hit. Now, you know, I would like to see him have a bit more belief in his jab and step in and have a bit more assertiveness with it. But it might sound like a contradiction because you've got to be careful as well, because Teo's ready to counterpunch you. But the jab is going to be the key because, well, you know that saying, timing beats speed, right? And I'm not saying Jermaine Ortiz is the fastest, but he's probably got slightly faster hands than Teo. Teo's got a faster mind, but if timing beats speed, creativity can beat timing. All right, now what I mean by that is Jermaine Ortiz does have a tendency to use the same rhythm, all right, and that's pattern recognition is timing, and Teo, being a counterpuncher, is going to be able to gauge Ortiz's pattern recognition, I think, unless he gets a bit creative. Because when I say creative, I mean like if Ortiz is just jabbing like that, and then 1-2, which he tends to do. You know, occasionally he'll fall into this free flow fighting, you know, what Teo does as well. I'll get more onto that in a minute because that's something I don't think he should do. But I think he should get more creative with his combinations, right? Especially leading off the jab, or like, you know, mixing it up a little bit. If you're jabbing like that, lead with a 2, come back with a swivel jab, all right? Or go downstairs. He likes to mix it up a little bit downstairs. I think he should do a lot of that. More on that later as well. But his creativity on how he's gonna, you know, unlock Teo's, counterpunching ability, basically, because he's gonna recognize that pattern. If Ortiz is coming in like this and he's just jabbing like that, and he's 1-2ing, there's going to be some serious counter punches going on from Teo, I think, you know. So the one way to negate that, as I said, is creativity and mixing up his punches, throwing feints. I know he does do a few level changes here and there, but I'd like to see that. But the punch variation, you know, with the feints, with some feinting. Feint the right hand, come back with the left hook. Where he switch hits a lot, and I think personally he should probably fight Southpaw. He's pretty good at doing it. The reason why I say that is Teo has had some, well, look, I know he beat Loma convincingly, but he gets stuck into like defensive modes when fighting Southpaws. There's a straight left hand to the body for Jermaine Ortiz. He was catching Moran with a lot. And Teo tends to step back when he's straight left hands to the body. So, you know, and when you're in straight left hands to the body, or straight jabs or right hands to the body, are typically they're harder to counterpunch. One, because if you're doing it properly and you're stepping in like that, your head is coming off the line anyway, all right? Even if it's a jab up there, down here, you're coming off the line and you're lower. So getting a left hook, an uppercut might be there for Teo, but I think generally speaking, you don't really see, or never really saw Andre Ward or Floyd Mayweather get countered with jabs to the body or you know, backhands to the body. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It definitely does, but it's less likely. And I think he should focus on attack. Like I said, mixing up those combinations. Don't get caught up to that same pattern. Go downstairs, get that back left hand to the body if he's going to fight Southpaw. Another reason why he should fight Southpaw is to get away from Teo's overhand right. Excuse me. I just ate a a sandwich. I've got half of it in my throat. Overhand right. Teo's best punch probably is an overhand right, and against the southpaw it makes it a little bit more tricky. I'm not saying it can't land it, but it does make things a little more awkward for Teo. In terms of Teo, the jab, obviously him countering that jab. The jab's going to be so important for Ortiz and for Teo, because if he does see opportunities to counter that jab, he's going to, and he should. But he also, another key to victory, right, is Teo, the game plan. When he has a game plan and he's efficient with it, he's a much better fighter. Sometimes I think he gets a bit overconfident, and the whole team get a bit overconfident with and look, he's a supreme talent. I get it. You know, that's what comes with the territory, probably being, you know, borderline arrogant and overconfident. But when he has a game plan, as he did against Lomachenko, as he did against Josh Taylor, I know they spoke about that. They wanted him to box a little bit more. Stick to what you're better at. He's better at counterpunching. And not to say he can't come forward and free flow. Let me talk about the free flow. And what I mean by that is, you know, when they're feeling themselves like this, and it reminds me a little bit of Sergio Martinez. You know, remember him when he used to fight? He used to drop his hands and get loose. Joe Calzaghe used to do it as well. A lot of fighters do, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, because it's a confidence thing, right? You're feeling yourself a little bit. But the thing with Jermaine Ortiz, when he's doing it, if he does it against Teo's better at doing just the reaction. He's a more reactionary, twitchy fighter, right? So it's going to favor Teo if you start. I would just keep it simple with Jermaine Ortiz and get the creativity going, but keep it simple. Don't fall out of that and try to match Teo with the bravado, arrogant stuff which he has known to do, Ortiz, which is fine if he's more, because typically he's been a slightly more naturally gifted fighter than anyone else outside of Lomachenko. He's a good fighter, Ortiz, really good fighter, but Teo's, you know, he's special. Let's be honest, he's a special talent. And, you know, Teo, in terms of, look, I think he should, with his defense, like sometimes he likes to block with his forearm and then keep his, like a shoulder. They both actually have a shoulder roll, right? Or they both deploy it sometimes, sporadically. But I think he gets caught in and out of defenses, and, like, you know, he'll do this and then he'll try and block with that, and he'll leave a little bit of his face open from, you know, not having the right guard at the right time, whether it's his hands up or if he's, you know, like if he's going to shoulder roll and Ortiz is a southpaw, that could be a problem. It's never a particularly good idea to have that face in there. There's just more room for that back left hand, I think. But I swear I had loads more keys to victory. I should have written it down. But no, look, Jermaine Ortiz, creativity, okay? I think he should fight southpaw. I think he should keep it simple-ish, and, like I said, get a bit creative when he can. The creativity is what's going to unlock Teo's front door, essentially. But with Teo, time that jab. Look to time that jab, because once you start timing the jab, once he starts timing Ortiz with that jab, that's going to shut his offense down a lot. So that's going to be the first 3 rounds, I think, are going to be really important for me. They usually are in fights, but particularly this. And if Jermaine Ortiz can't get that jab going and can't get some sort of rhythm going, or start landing clean shots with that, and he's getting timed and he's getting countered, and he's going to get put back in his place, because he's probably not faced someone as powerful as Teo before. And like I said, he got hurt against Moran, and look, he handled the being hurt well. But Teo is, yeah, we know he can punch. And that leads me to another thing for Jermaine Ortiz is, look, they're both all right at fighting on the inside, but if you're Jermaine Ortiz, you don't want to engage on the inside with Teo, because you're just bringing the fighter to like a 50-50 essentially, you know. And Teo's, I'd say they're probably fairly evenly matched on the inside, to be honest. Maybe Teo's a little bit better, so you don't want to really be banging there with someone who can punch harder than you. And Jermaine Ortiz, I'm not saying he can't punch, but it's definitely not his strong point, you know. His strong point is boxing, moving, you know, being fluid and being disciplined with himself for the most part, and, you know, having a tough mentality. You know, I think, and, you know, using that jab, switch hitting if he needs to, but I don't think he should switch hit too much, because I think you got to keep it simple and creative. Just my opinion. Let me know your thoughts. I swear I had one more for Teo, but, you know, nonetheless, I hope we get a good fight. I think it will be a good fight. I've got Teo winning on points. I don't think he'll stop Ortiz just because of how tough he is, and I think Ortiz is tricky. He's a little quick and shifty, and I don't think Teo will be able to get him out of there. I think it will probably be a unanimous decision, and then hopefully after that, Teo can go on and get another super fight. You got to take your hat off. This is not an easy fight for Teo. Do you know what I mean? It's a very difficult fight, actually. Jermaine Ortiz is a game fighter, very skilled, and he comes prepared and he comes to win. And, you know, it sounds like an obvious thing to say, but a lot of fighters don't come to win, really win. If the chips are down, Jermaine Ortiz is ready to go. So that's it from me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I hope you guys are well. Have a great week. I'm out. Peace and love. Boxing on the edge.